page 139. We're going to talk about the rapture. We're talking about the eternal ages. Now, the eternal ages, I'll get this down out of the way. The eternal ages are right here, eternity future. We're going past the tribulation period. We're going past the church age. We're going past through the what we call the millennial reign, and then we have the white throne judgment. We're talking about the eternal ages, but there are some things that we need to go back here because the writer goes back in time and talks about some things here that we need to discuss, which I did not discuss when we were there. Okay? And one of them is the rapture, and we talk about all kinds of, and I forgot to bring my book in here. When I first got started studying God's Word, I had a pastor that had gone to Little Rock, Arkansas, and one of his fellow students was Cheryl Ford. And there's a book I've got in there called The Last Trump that he gave to me 45 years ago. Well, for about the first 3 or 4 years, after I gave myself to full study, I studied this, and I was what they call a last of the week or post-tribulation rapture person. I believe that the church had to go through the tribulation period. Well, within about 3 or 4 years after that, I got exposed a lot to the Bible because I read the whole Bible several times, and it didn't make sense to me anymore. But that's where I came from. So I slowly gravitated toward, and one of the things I was reading at that time was The Bible in 8 Ages by L.D. Foreman. Well, L.D. Foreman believed in a mid-tribulation rapture. Okay? Now, if you turn this over like this, you'll see the different things here. This is the mid-tribulation right here. That's the middle. He believed that you were raptured there. So I was exposed to end of the week, and I was exposed to intensely to mid-tribulation rapture. But I read so many things, and it didn't make sense to me. There were too many things that didn't make sense. And then I began going to the seminary also, and I started listening to that. When I went down there, I was the last of the week guy, and I was around a lot of the last of the week people. Because all of the new lighters believe in post-tribulation rapture. Okay? They believe you'll go right straight from the church age into the millennium. And many of the new lighters are close to 5-point Calvinist. If you go to the Calvinists, most of them, not all of them, but most of them do not believe in the rapture at all. Many of them do not believe in the millennium at all. Okay? Am I telling the truth, Brother Ray? You've been around these people. So I began to understand the ideology behind all of this. And then I just said, Lord, teach me. And I found out that in church history, as I was studying church history, all of the early churches believed in pre-tribulation rapture. They all believed in a literal millennium. It wasn't until Augustine came on the scene that we have all the controversy. And then, of course, we have in 325 A.D., we have Constantine marrying the church to the state, and so you couldn't be anything else but a Catholic, because the church and the state were one. You couldn't be anything but a Catholic or you were an outlaw. All right? And the Catholic, after Augustine, begins to believe in replacement theology, where they take all the promises to Israel, the Davidic covenant, the Abrahamic covenant, and everything is put in the church alone. But there's a lot of problems with that. There's hundreds of prophecies contrary to that, as you know. Well, let's go here now. This is where we are. And then we're going to study the words for rapture in the Bible. On page 138. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and they will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and be their God. Revelation 21, verse 3. The sister verse to this is John 1:14. Christine, what is it in Greek? Kai ho logos. Sarx aganato. And the Word, the Jehovah fleshy, became and dwelt among us. The reason for the tabernacle down there was that God wanted to dwell with His people. And in the end, God will dwell with His people. Okay? Now we're going to look at some. Adam was driven from God's presence after having had a real communion with Him. What loneliness must have filled his heart. Can you imagine that? Emma, you are in personal relationship and God is in love with you and you're in love with God, and all of a sudden you do something so bad that you can no longer face God. And your twin brother there, you're in the same thing. Yeah? Eli. Just imagine that for a minute. Imagine that, Carrie. Being in close relationship, walking, talking, kissing relationships with the Lord. You know, when you kiss one another, that's what churches used to do. They kiss one another, and what do you do when you kiss? You say, I surrender. I surrender. I give myself to you. I surrender myself to you. That's what they did. This is what they call the kiss of love, the holy kiss in the Bible. You're surrendering to one another. Man and God were close relationship. They kissed one another because they were on equal. They were both holy. Man was holy because he was created in the image of God, and while he remained holy, he was in full fellowship with Him. He could walk, talk. His heart would sing with Him. Their souls intermingled, so to speak. But then something happened one day. He sinned. And he became separated from God, and he had no means of communication. What mercy and grace must have been felt when God sought him, brought him, and restored his limited communion. We only have limited communion today with God. Because of what? Our flesh. Our flesh. Our flesh is infected with a virus of sin, and it's there in every person. And your Father gave it to you. It's not your mother, your Father gave it to you. We don't give the sin nature to our children. It's our Father who gives it to our children. John saw a people who had heretofore walked by faith, who had experienced only spiritual communion with God. Now they are in His real presence, beholding all His splendor and being thrilled their entire being by His majestic person. What bliss and happiness is suggested here from that verse up there in Revelation 21, verse 3. Even in the church we have today. From Matthew 5 through 7, we have what we call the ethics of the kingdom. And we treat each other in church relationship. We forgive when we shouldn't, don't we? Well, the world wouldn't forgive what we do to each other sometime, but the Lord tells us, forgive and turn the other cheek. Now, if you turn the other cheek, if you do all Matthew 5 through 7, Brother Ray, what does the world think of you? You're a village idiot. I got this guy, man. I'm going. Boy, this is him. He's a sucker. And you're done for. But in church relationship, you must do that. You must do that. We must forgive 70 times 7 and all this stuff. John saw the great God solicitously wiping tears from the eyes that had beheld so much for which to weep. Loved ones had died, and they had been left alone. How many of you ever had someone in your family die that you love very much? You know what? You know how that pain is? I mean, some people haven't. Some of you young people maybe haven't had that. It's a great pain when you lose somebody that you love so much. When Brother Alan Wagner died, he was at Valley Baptist Church, you know that. Brother Ray and Carol, he went to church. That was a product of New Hope Church. Brother Alan Wagner was a product of New Hope Church. We produced a great man there. There was a great man of God. He always looked at me as his idol. You know, he'd always introduced me the greatest theologian alive, and to all these super missionaries and big shots in the Southern Baptist Convention. He'd always say this is the greatest scholar alive today. In depth in Hebrew and Greek, whatever theological question he will answer it for you. I really am not that good. But that's what's his opinion. And we produced him. We love one another. We loved each other for a long time. I loved that man for 45 years. He was a teenager when I became his pastor. And he died so young. And when I lost him, it just broke my heart. Marilyn knows that. When I went to his funeral, I don't know whether you listened to his funeral, Brother Ray, on the website, but that was a wonderful funeral. But it was a great loss. I wouldn't bring him back, but boy, do I miss him. Man, do I miss him. Disappointments had been legion, which had brought bitter tears. But that is all over and shall never be remembered again. All tears are gone, nothing left to bring tears. Death and sorrow gone forever, no funerals, no mourning, no crying for them ever again. They are safe at home at last. The journey is over. The stress and strain of life is but a dream. And boy, do we have it. I always know where Satan is. He's about 1 foot behind me. I mean it. I hope that he don't dog you like you do, like he's dogged me. I guess I must be real important to God. My cousin Bill Paul, that wrote The Shadow of an Indian Star, he called me one time when I was going through some real problems, and he said, Brother Jim, he says, you're my cousin. When I read the book of Job, I read your life. He said, that's Jim. Well, maybe these things happen for your building up. Why do we read Job? So we have encouragement. You can overcome through all. You know, his friends turned against him. How many of my friends turned against me? People that I love so much, that broke my heart. But you turn the other cheek. Brother Ray, you seen me turn the other cheek?
Too many times.
Too many times. You've seen me do it.
Just shot him.
Huh?
Somebody just shot him.
Yeah. Because I'm living by the Matthew 5. I'm not doing that in the world, people.
Right.
But you've seen me do it in church relationship, haven't you? Over and over and over again. Why? Because that's what we're commanded to do. Some of them aren't even in the church. Battles of the past are now but mere pebbles in the road home. They realize that it is all by the grace of God and the inflexibility of His eternal purpose. The unpreventable progress of God, underline that, put it in your mind. The unpreventable progress, God's eternal purpose, and His unpreventable progress. His plan of the ages will not be thwarted whatsoever. And He's using you, Carrie, in space and time right now to bring about His eternal purpose. Caleb, you're part of it. Emma, Eli, Carol, Ray, Marilyn, Christine, you did a little preaching yesterday and the day before. Yeah, God used you. You wandered into foreign lands on mission trips and everything else. God's used you there. The world so many times wipes its feet on us. It does. They use us for fools. Islam is really making fools out of missionaries and things. And then they're killing them. You're using them. And they're not going to convert. That's not going to happen. We can't even speak a word of God in those countries, can we? We can't even tell them we're a Christian. No way. You know, that's the old treaties, the old Islamic power is still there. You can't touch them in those countries. You do, you die. There is no freedom of religion there. Next, John saw the great city, New Jerusalem, as it hovered over the new earth. He heard a voice saying that it was the bride, the Lamb's wife, Revelation 21:9 and 10. The Queen of Heaven had ruled with him for 1,000 years as a honeymoon on the earth. Now, the writer says on the earth. There's something wrong with that, Brother Ray. What's wrong with that? Did that New Jerusalem ever touch the earth? No.
Not at this point.
Not yet. The earth is still contaminated. New Jerusalem, not one unsaved person ever went into Jerusalem. Not one unglorified person ever went into Jerusalem. But the people from Jerusalem came down to the earth. But no one ever went into New Jerusalem, because New Jerusalem is going to be a part of the eternal ages. And not one man-made object will ever exist in the eternal ages. Not one man-made object will touch ground in the eternal ages. Nothing. I'm not sure any memory of it will be there. The pyramids will be gone. The Sphinx will be gone. Every object of man-made origin will be gone. Evidently, the marriage of the Lamb had taken place at the coming of Christ and before the millennial reign, Revelation 19:7-10. As John saw her in Revelation chapter 1, she had already moved into her eternal home and set up housekeeping forever. John 14:1-3, Jesus seems to refer to this as a special place prepared for his bride, even as he had made a distinction between the church and the religions of the world. While on earth, there is a distinction between those of the city and the rest of the redeemed. Now, I believe that there will be saved and redeemed besides the church. Saved in New Jerusalem besides the church. Okay? That is where the redeemed will be. Now, not only the church will rule and reign with Christ forever, but who are some of the other people? Let's name them from the Bible. Who are some of the people that will rule and reign with Christ? It's a very special dispensation. Who are they?
Is it David?
No, well, David and Abraham and all of them are going to be there too. They won't be in the church, but they'll be there.
The martyrs?
The martyrs in the book of Revelation have a very special place.
Yeah.
And they're not in the church.
Right.
Right.
They're not in the church.
Right.
If you believe in mid or pre-tribulation rapture. Now, in the pre-tribulation rapture, we have people raptured right here, 1 Thessalonians 4:16 and 17, which we're going to go and look at in the Greek in just a few moments. If it's a mid-tribulation rapture, there's still people who are going to die from the middle of the tribulation period to the last, aren't there? So those people are the saints, but they're already in heaven, disembodied here before it comes up to the middle of the tribulation period. They're already there, aren't they, brother?
So that's another,
They're already there afterward.
So that's another point in
favor
proving
of
that
the
it's-
pre-tribulation rapture.
Right,
Yes,
because
absolutely.
of those martyred saints that aren't a part of the church,
Yeah.
a New Testament church that's going to be reigning.
Yeah. Now, I was going to bring two books in here today, and I did not bring them because I was sore and I had low blood sugar at the very beginning, which my brain was spinning and all that kind of stuff. But I was going to bring in The Hebrew Wedding by James Nye, which was one of my teachers and one of my fellow students at CMBI. And I read it and put it out on the website, and his sons wrote a letter to me and thanked me for doing that, The Hebrew Wedding. How long did The Hebrew Wedding last, Brother Ray?
7 years.
How long did the Hebrew...
7 days.
7 days. That's a week. Okay? Now, this tribulation period is called a what? A week of years. Now, how long is the Hebrew wedding? Ceremony? Festival? 7 days. And a week of years would be 7 years, wouldn't it? Now, anything less than 7 years would not be the complete week, would it? No. So, if the rapture takes place at the end of the church age and the beginning of the tribulation period, that's what we call pre-tribulation rapture. Then we have a whole week that the bride is with her husband before he comes back in all of his glory and brings her with him as a spectator. Okay? A week. The wedding week is fulfilled. All right? Now, another thing is that if there's a rapture in the middle, that's possible, except it messes up the wedding week, doesn't it?
Exactly.
We got to get rid of the wedding week. We've got to forget that idea, which we can't forget that idea. Because it's there. But that is possible in one way only. That there are people that go into millennial reign in their bodies. Because no unsaved person will go into millennial reign, but many of them will go in their real bodies. The body. Just like you have, Emma. Just like you have, Eli. They're going to be living, breathing people. And not only are they going to do that, but what are they going to do during this millennial period of time? These people have the ability to live 1,000 years. And have 1,000 kids, Emma. The girls.
Sound like fun?
You don't have any kids? You don't have children? You don't have kids? A lot of trouble, aren't they? All right. They're a lot of trouble, aren't they? Christine, are they a lot of trouble? Now you wish you had 2 or 3 more, huh?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I wish I'd have kept them coming all these years. Just kept on coming. Marilyn wanted 10
Well,
or 11. She had names for all of them. She wanted a baseball team. Well, you want a baseball team? That's a lot of work, isn't it? Have you seen how your mama raised you? It's a lot of work, isn't it? It's a lot of work. A lot of heartache sometimes. A lot of money, a lot of work, a lot of heartaches. What happens when you have a little child that gets terminally ill? And you lose it. Why, we see on television these little kids like that all the time dying in these children's hospitals and St. Jude Center and all this kind of stuff. We see this and this breaks our heart. What if you spend a lifetime raising a child and it becomes a bank robber? A hoodlum? Brother Ray, you went down that deal. You were breaking your mother's heart, weren't you?
I grew all the white hairs on her head.
Yeah, gave her all white hairs on her head. But boy, has she been proud of you since, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, she will.
make up the rest of my life trying to make up. I
Yeah.
couldn't do what I did.
Yeah. But it happened. We see that. You know what it is to lose a child? You know what it is to lose a child that goes astray, that just makes one mistake and get in the wrong place? They're gone. Forever gone. Broken hearts. You see this. Having children. They will live for 1,000 years, but some people will be executed during that millennial reign because they won't follow God. A lot of people say today, if I only knew there was a God, I said this. If I only knew there was a God, I'd follow Him with all of my might and heart. And I'm trying. Making a lot of mistakes in my life. But I tried to follow the Lord the best I could. We're saved by grace, aren't we? For in grace ye are having been saved through faith, and that not of yourself, is gifts of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. The faith didn't come from us, did it? When you do something for the Lord, it is God's Spirit working in you. That's why you came to this class today. Maybe because Mama made you, but in your heart, it is the desire of God in you that wants to learn of Him. Did you learn something today? All right, now let's go on a little bit further. Let's go to, we're talking about this rapture business. And we got down on page 140, down where it says Abraham. Now we're going to go back, or forward, that is, in the 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter. And let's read, I'm going to read it to you from verse 13 onward, and I'm just going to read it, a translation to you from Greek. Not we wish, brethren, moreover, not we wish, brethren, you to be agnostics, not knowing, ignorant, brothers, concerning the sleeping. All right, the word sleeping there, that's present participle passive. Having been caused to sleep. What causes you to sleep?
Being tired.
In the grave.
Sin.
The Spirit, sin does. Now, it's talking about people that are in the Lord that have died. Now, if you go to a Jehovah's Witness, the Seventh-day Adventist, or Herbert Armstrong people, Worldwide Church of God, Garner Ted Armstrong's group, any of these people, they will tell you that when you die, you go to sleep, your soul goes to sleep, and it's a sleeping soul. And if you're real bad, that soul will never wake up. I think they borrowed something from Buddha. You know, Buddha, his idea of nirvana is going out of existing no more. Because he didn't want to be reincarnated as a flea, a tick, or an elephant, or a tiger, because he remembered being these things. This man was really sick in the head, Buddha was. So we have the Buddhists today. We have all these people today, hoping they won't be, if they're real good and deny themselves any pleasure, that maybe they can just go to sleep and sleep forever, and they'll have this eternal rest in nirvana. Well, your Jehovah's Witnesses and all these people believe in soul sleeping. In Luke, the 16th chapter, we have an example of somebody in Hades and somebody in paradise side of Hades. There's where we have the rich man and we have Lazarus. And are they asleep? No. They're awake and they're going on. And that's the best example we have of hell in the Bible. We know about angels that are in the bottomless pit. Are they asleep? No. The spirits that are in the bottomless pit, are they asleep? No. When a person dies, now angels don't die. They're not capable of dying. But they're capable of going to hell. And they'll be there forever. And their people will be in hell forever. And hell is a place of various degrees. Have you ever seen some rich person who says, well, I wish I had that car. I wish I had that house. I wish I had that or this or that. You see all of this stuff. You can see. You ever done that? You wish you had that? When I went to Fish Lake Valley here a while back, I saw this place up there on the creek where we bought the property, and I saw that, and I said, man alive, I could see myself preaching in that big living room like I'm doing right here today. I could just see that for using it for the glory of God. And I said, and originally the man was going to trade me. And then he backed out. We ended up getting a place on the other side of the creek, which actually is a better piece of property, but there's no house there. You know what I did? Go to the website. What did I do?
You preached it?
I preached on the creek, didn't I? About 20 times. And I glorified God on the creek. Without a house, took the motorhome up there, living in the house. And Marilyn said she woke up here one day. She was sleeping on that couch, and I was back there working. And she woke up, and she came in there, smiled from ear to ear. And she said, I've been dreaming about our paradise. She said, the smell and the beautiful air and listening to that creek and looking to the starry skies at night and in the morning when the sun rises and those beautiful blue mountains that's just full of trees, the blue from trees, and seeing all these sunrises and sunsets and things like that, she said, that's paradise. Well, I could just imagine that and having people come up there on different seminars, little seminars, where a couple of families come up or something, camp out there. We go and we study God's Word together. We study maybe the second coming of the Lord for a week. And after 3 hours of that, go chase through the woods. Go hiking, climb Boundary Peak, the tallest point in Nevada. Look around, go out and see the oldest living things on the earth, the Brisicombe Pines. Go out to the hot tub and relax in 105-degree water. Go look at the bighorn sheep and the wild horses. You ever seen a wild horse? You'll see lots of wild horses up there. Lots of wild horses in the wild. Being wild horses, bighorn sheep, antelope, elk, deer, mountain lions. She saw a track of a mountain lion down there. I couldn't get her back down there. I put beautiful lights on that creek. We could go down there and set at that deal. And I said, let's go, Marilyn. No! No! I'm taking my gun, Marilyn. I'm taking Samuel Colt with me. No. Now, if it had been a Bigfoot track down there, I'd have hightailed it real good.
Oh, you know what? I should have gone because I'm old and tough.
Yeah.
Right. And you're
Well, we see this. Sleeping, soul sleeping. Okay. 1 Thessalonians 4:13. Sleeping, the ones sleeping. Those are the ones in the grave. In order that not you may grieve, just as the ones remaining, the ones having hope. Not having hope, that is, the ones remaining not having hope. For since we believe that Jesus, He died, and that He rose again, in the same manner also, the God, the ones having slept, these are the ones in the graves now. You're not asleep. We know that because the book of Revelation says the souls of those that have been martyred, their bodies are down on earth, but they're in heaven with Him, aren't they, Brother Ray?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they're there. They were crying out for what? Justice. We all want justice, don't we? We all want justice. When somebody's done something wrong to us, we want justice. Many times in this world we don't find it. And then 14 says, for since we believe that Jesus, He died, and rose again, in the same manner are also God, the ones having slept, through the Jesus, He shall bring with Him. What's He going to bring? What's He going to bring? Their souls and spirits with Him. And He's going to bring with Him, and He's going to resurrect all those. They're going to be united. They're going to be triune again. For this to ye, we say, in the word of the Lord. This is inspired Bible right here, he says. This is not from me. This is not my opinion now. This is the word of God that we, the ones living, The ones that aren't twice dead. You know, if you're not haven't been born again, you're double dead. Did you know that? You're double dead. You're a place looking to die, and then you're going to the second death. It's not annihilation either. The ones remaining unto the presence. This is the presence. Now, this parousia coming of the Lord is different than this part over here. This one here. This parousia, it comes from para and ami. Para means beside, and ami means to be beside. Now, the Lord is going to come down here, and He's going to stand upon the earth, and He's going to call up, He's going to send the souls and bodies back together with those people that He brought with Him, the souls, and then He's going to rapture all the rest of them. Okay? The presence of the Lord, verse 15. Know not, we may proceed or go before the ones having slept. In other words, the ones that are in the graves, they're going to rise first before the rapture. The living shall not go before the dead. Why do you think that God is going to rapture, or not rapture, but resurrect those that have died in Christ?
Because they're already with Him.
He's bringing them with Him. But what about the ones on the earth? What would be the most glorious sight that we could think about seeing? The resurrection of the graves opening up. So we're witnesses of the resurrection, and then all of a sudden, about the time we witness it, wham, we're gone too. But we see it.
Are unbelievers going to see that?
Unbelievers are going to see it too. Because there's going to be the greatest revival during the beginning of the tribulation period that's ever been on earth. Just like what happened in the days of Noah. Didn't they say that? What happened on the outside of the ark when it started raining and God shut the door? Now God's shutting the door again. As in the days of Noah, so shall be the second coming of the Son of Man. All right? They believed outside. Just read what it says. Those that were disobedient in the days of Noah that were killed by the flood, they believed on the outside, but they couldn't get in, could they? What happens to all these people in the tribulation period that believe after the rapture? They're going to have to die. Many of them are going to die. 5 out of every 6 people, Gentiles, are going to be killed during that period of time. 2 out of every 3 Jews are going to be killed. The Jews won't believe until the middle of the week. And in the middle of the week, we know how long it's going to be to the end of the week, don't we, Brother Ray?
Yes, sir.
And those are the ones that are the martyrs that are going to be in the
That's
valley
right.
because they weren't in the church before.
They weren't in the church before, but they're not going to be in the bride, but they're going to rule and reign with Christ in some very high place. I don't know what. The bride is the bride, and the bride will be the bride forever. Okay? But they're going to be there. Now let's look at 16. Because for He Himself, the Lord, in the command of His word, the cry of His word, in the voice of an archangel, and in the trumpet of God, He shall step down from the heaven, and the ones, dead ones in Christ, they shall stand again for themselves. Third person plural, future indicative middle voice. Why will they stand for themselves again? Because they called upon the Lord to save their souls until that sealed their appointment with God in the resurrection. When God sends His Spirit in you, you are earmarked. You are branded for the resurrection. Number 17. Then we, the ones living, the ones remaining, beside the ones remaining, calls to be remaining together with them, we shall be snatched up. This word here is harpazo. It is harpagazesalmetha, future indicative passive. They shall be snatched away in the clouds unto the meeting of the Lord in the air. And thusly, in this same way, always with the Lord we shall be for ourselves. What middle voice? What is that? That is volition. Always volition. You know, your 5-point supra antilapsarians, they don't. If they studied this Greek, they wouldn't like this. They don't like to see middle voice. There's nothing they can do to be saved. There's nothing. Well, God calls us, doesn't He? We know that. God can't come to man unless He calls him. But there's some little tiny thread of an element in there that's volition. And when we surrender ourselves to God, then God gives us the faith to be saved. That's it. Now let's go over here. Now there's a lot of verses. Daniel 10, 1 through 4, 1 Thessalonians 4, 16, Jude 9, Revelation 12 and 7, Daniel 9, 21, 1 Thessalonians 1 and 10, 1 Corinthians 15, 51 through 53, 1 Thessalonians 1 and 10 again, and Matthew 11 and 12, 13, 9, 6, John 6, 15, 10, 12, 28, 29, Acts 8, 39, 23 and 24, Acts, the first chapter there where it's talking about Jesus going into the clouds. 2 Corinthians 12, 2 through 4, 1 Thessalonians, Jude 23, Revelation 12 and 5. Now we have the word here. Let's go to the Greek lexicon, the analytical Greek lexicon. And let's go to this word, harparzo. On page 52, this is what it says. It means like to seize as by a wild beast. Do you know what a raptor is? How many of you know what a raptor is? You remember what a raptor is? Raptor. Did you ever watch Jurassic Park at all? Those raptors were really bad guys, weren't they? Bad actors, and they scratched you really with these claws. They actually, the word raptor means the mark of the raptor. When something is caught with the claws of a raptor, the marks stay there. One time I was in Fish Lake Valley when I was going to school in 1958. I remember the year. I was traveling from Snow Goose Ranch on the bus to Dyer School, and I saw this golden eagle reach down, come down out of the sky, and pick up this cottontail rabbit. And it took this rabbit up, and that rabbit was screaming, 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 screaming. He took it way high in the sky, and he dropped it, and the rabbit screamed all the way down, and when it hit the ground, it became silent. Thud. That rabbit had the marks of a raptor on it. Now, that's what it really means, to snatch away. To take away by force, to snatch away. To seize on with avidly, eagerly appropriate power. They seize, but it has the power to seize and to do this. It goes on down and it says to, it means to rapine, it means to rob, to eagerly seize, a thing retained and snatched away with an eager grasp, or eagerly claimed and conspicuously exercised. It also means to snatch out a way of harm. A ravening wild beast, rapaciously given to exhortation and robbery and extortion. I've known some extortioners in my life. But the Lord's not going to extort. A raptor is a bird of prey. We get our word rapere from the Latin. This is where we got the word rapture. And this is where the word rapture is in the Bible. If you translate it correctly, this should be raptured. We are raptured, snatched away by the Lord. We're snatched away. Now, that was on page 52. Now let's go over to page 360. We have another word. It's ruomai. Ruomai, and that word is also used for to take away, to snatch away in different places. At the bottom of the page in the right column it says, to drag out of danger. You got that? To drag out of danger. Now, is the Lord's bride dragged out of danger? Because the tribulation period's come upon the earth. He's going to grab his bride out of danger, and so many people think he's going to make his bride go through it. What happens to the wedding week? To rescue, to seize. This is ruomai. 2 Thessalonians 3 and 2. Matthew 6 and 13, 27, 43. Later also passive, to be rescued, to be delivered. The Lord shall deliver us from the wrath to come. He shall rescue us. He shall rapture us and deliver us from the wrath to come. We see all of this. That we have the word ruomai, and we have the word harparzo. These are the two words, to rapture and to take out of harm's way. Now, we could go through all of these verses that we did. But now, because we have been raptured, We're with the Lord for 7 years upon the earth, above the earth in New Jerusalem for 7 years, a waiting week. The Lord comes, we go back with the Lord on white horses. As spectators, we have no arms. He is the one that will slay them with the word of his mouth. He institutes his millennial reign for 1,000 years. The devil is shut up in a bottomless pit, and all of his emissaries and helpers are with him, and there's no bad influence upon the earth, and people will live for 1,000 years if they behave.
So who does he slay when he comes down on the
He slays all of those people that are left of Islam and whatever else. I believe Islam is the Antichrist's last world government. He's going to slay all of them. He's going to protect all of his. And all those saved individuals that believe, and all of saved Israel that believe, will go in their physical bodies for 1,000 years. Some of those people will live.
So only people that have accepted Christ at that end will go into the
That nobody else is going to go into the millennium. Now, if you have a post-tribulation rapture, who's going to go? If you're going to rapture all the saved there, who's going to go into the millennium? There are no inhabitants of the millennium.
Right.
There aren't any. Okay? Israel, those saved individuals, Israel, 1/3 of Israel, 1/6 of the world, part of that 1/6 of the world will go in there, and for 1,000 years they're going to have a lot of babies. You don't want to go there, do you? No. You want to go there? I want to be raptured over here. I want to get out of that mess. I don't want to be there. You ask the Jehovah's Witnesses, I don't want to go to heaven, I want to go to the kingdom. They can have it. I'll guarantee you one thing, if there's a Jehovah's Witness alive at the end of that tribulation period, he will be saved, or he won't go into the kingdom. He'll believe that Jesus Christ is his Savior, that he died for his sins, that he rose again, and this is Jehovah that became flesh. Nobody else, not the Archangel Michael or anything else. They will be saved.
Or they'll be slain.
Or they'll be slain. All right. They'll be an enemy of God, or they will be saved. One or the other. Do you have any questions? No questions? Buddha Mia? Nothing? Nothing? Eli? Emma? Nobody? Carrie? Caleb? Christine? You always have a question.
I know, I always do. It just
All right.
I
Brother Ray, Carol, Mary Lynn, any of you?
All it does, it just keeps going to bigger and better picture. I got all the concepts of the idea, and it just comes clearer and clearer and clearer.
The painting is clear. It was not a black and white. It wasn't a, what do you call those negatives?
Now, in the millennial reign, the demons that have been in the bottomless pit, they're still chained. Satan will not be on the scene.
No.
And only believers will go in there. But as they're having babies, these new humans will have to pick Jesus.
They'll have how long will they have to believe?
About 1,000 years.
How long will they have to believe, Brother Ray? 100 years.
Oh.
100 years to accept Jesus Christ as their Savior or not. And I don't know whether they might even live longer than that if they behave.
Now, where does it say they'll only live 100 years?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
100 years. All right. Thank you for your attention today. Christine, dismiss us in prayer, would you
All
please?
right. Dear Lord, I just thank you for today, Father, and I thank how you just continue